doubt.
Cool.
Yeah.
I appreciate you taking the time to do it, man.
Oh, absolutely. Tell me about the podcast, man. How's it been?
It's been okay. It's one of the things I wanted to talk with you about on here is me and my partner now are still very much in the day to day doing all the buying. Not very much is subbed out, so it's a big time consumer. So we're just trying to balance everything. We're pushing that social media stuff hard, but the balance has just been tough because it's still us doing all the buying.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. So
it's going okay.
what's your main goal for the podcast?
Another question I had on here today to ask you, man, about what you guys are doing. To be completely honest, we started pushing Facebook and the podcast really hard. Hired a bunch of people, hired full-time video guys without a set goal. I mean, I guess the goal was to kind of get our name bigger in Jacksonville, so more wholesale deals flow through us.
Yep.
Would be the main goal. We started our Connect event.
Awesome.
But we think that postcards and all that stuff's going away, so we wanted to really hammer our footprint home on the digital side of things and give value to people for free. That's been the main goal, but we haven't had a great direction with it at this point.
Sure.
But really, at this point, we just enjoy doing it.
Yeah.
I can talk to people like you on here and provide value to the people in Jacksonville on wholesaling and what you guys are doing with TTP. That's a huge win for me too.
Awesome. Love it.
So we'll just get going. We good to go? All right. So if you're ready, Brent, we're just going to start filming and just get into it.
Yeah, let's rip and run. So do you put this on just social media? Do you put it on YouTube? Have you started YouTube yet?
Yep, we got all that going. We filmed the whole thing. We got cameras in the room. We got cameras looking at us from all directions. So we take little tidbits from it, which I'll send you too if you want them, like 30-second clips of real good nuggets that you say, that I say. And that's been the biggest takeaway from it is these 30-second clips that we edit up and put out. We also put it on YouTube. We got an RSS feed for the podcast. So we'll make sure to give you all the raw and all the everything also.
Awesome. Love it, man.
Cool.
Rock and roll, Pat.
You ready to go, Nick? Yeah, we're good. All right, welcome everybody. You're on the Yellowbird Connect podcast. We're on episode 18, and we are really excited today to have the TTP King, Mr. Brent Daniels, here with us today. How are you doing, Brent?
I am doing phenomenal. Let's go. Let's bring some energy to this podcast.
Hey, I'm so excited
to this video. Let's go, man.
I'm so excited to have you because you are the energy that you bring just in your podcast. I watched a couple podcasts with you just to kind of prep for today. We met briefly at Asheville, North Carolina at the Wholesaling Inc event, and that was the first time we met. I saw you talking up on stage, and the energy you brought to that whole room was just awesome. And that's a huge part of wholesaling and doing this in general. Starting off, could we get just to give us context, your background, kind of where you came from and how you ended up here?
Yeah, sure. So I have been just an entrepreneur since birth, I guess. You know what I mean? I've never had a regular job, right? The only thing that I've really done, so in college, my parents converted their 3-car garage into a gym, and I would train like young athletes and moms, right? That was my thing. And then from there in college, I got my real estate license because I read Rich Dad, Poor Dad. So you read that and you're like, well, I need to learn about real estate because you have no idea about it. And you quickly find that getting a license doesn't really teach you how to do deals. It just kind of teaches you the mechanics of how to represent people. But I did that for a while until I got to the point when I found that sourcing opportunities in the marketplace was where the big profits were and where you talk about the energy that I have. We're the luckiest guys alive. I mean, wholesaling real estate, flipping houses, like being in this business. I mean, there's nothing better. I mean, literally today, we could have a conversation and it turns into whatever, 20 grand, 30 grand, 40 grand. So just from that perspective, I was being an agent representing people for a long time. And that was like having little mini bosses, right? And it was just driving me crazy. So just naturally, I wanted to get to the point where I was being an investor. I was sourcing opportunities. I was like creating my own schedule. And that's what wholesaling has done for me. So I started out door knocking in good neighborhoods that had some older properties. And I got a deal, and then I got another deal. And then the first 25 deals that I did, all I did was drive for dollars, get the phone numbers for the homeowners, call them up, and see if they would consider an offer. So, yeah, I mean, that's kind of the synopsis. I mean, obviously, there's more trials and tribulations and successes and wins and highs and lows in that mix. But for the most part, I got to the point where I discovered that sourcing the opportunities was where the power lay, or lies in this business. And since then, that's been the focus. That's what I've got. I've built a team around it. I've built an unbelievable team to be able to do that. And so now I just, I teach people how to pick up the phone and make calls and talk to people.
Awesome.
Yep.
You mentioned Rich Dad Poor Dad was a big influence on you. Similar background for me, because I actually went to Kings Point Merchant Marine Academy up in New York, played rugby, same as Robert Kiyosaki did. And he spoke to us my senior year. It was his first time back speaking at Kings Point. And that planted the seed for me. I'd be lying if I said I was born entrepreneurial. It kind of developed in me as
Sure.
I sailed Merchant Marine for 10 years and hated my life a little more each year that I was out there.
Sure.
So, yeah, that book is amazing if anyone hasn't read it. So I like hearing your story. What you mentioned before in another podcast I heard you in was the importance of mentors.
Yep.
And mentorships, and that they're important because you're trying to build a wholesaling business. Hang out with people who have done it before. Why rewrite the book on it? But I thought to myself, the blue book on trying to build a wholesaling business is postcards, print ads, get your returns. You kind of took an opposite direction with that, in that you are very much against postcards. You are very much calling, TTP, banging on doors. So you scaled the talking to people individually in the banging on doors, rather than doing what everyone else said, which was send out postcards.
Yep.
Why would you, instead of doing the proven model of postcards, do this other route? What made you do that?
A couple different things. First off, I had no marketing budget, right? So when you don't have a lot of money to spend on marketing efforts, especially if you're in, some of these bigger markets where they have people that spend $100,000 a month in direct marketing, you just get swallowed up. So there has to be some other way. So I quickly discovered that to find these opportunities, to find these wholesale deals, to find all these off-market, nobody knew about properties, really there's three ways. One, you do the marketing, right? You spend the money, you do the marketing. Two, you wait for referrals from somebody, right? You become the guy in your market, right? Agents know that you're the guy. Family members know that you're a guy. Your sphere of influence know that you're the guy or gal that you bring really rough houses to. Or you be proactive and you go out every single day and you start having those conversations with distressed property owners on your schedule, which that was always kind of my personality, and it was always and it was necessary because I just didn't have the budget for it. So I was like, okay, here we go. Because the economic collapse just crushed me. As a young man, I signed on for an office lease for this huge building to build a real estate brokerage and to do all these things. And I signed a personal guarantee on it. Well, what happens is when you sign a personal guarantee and you don't pay them, they sue you. Okay. So there I am. I'm 28 years old at the time, and I have a $742,000 judgment against me. Right. So what happens is they do these things called asset checks, right? Where you go into the attorney's office and you have to show them what assets you have, and you can't lie to them. You can't hide things. So forever, I've got this burden on me that I can't make any money. I can't buy anything, I can't buy assets. I've got this judgment. You can't even buy a house. You can't get a mortgage. You can't do these things, So I had to fight and claw my way to settle that debt, first of all, which we did. We started out negotiating that debt at $2,500. It ended up a lot more than that, but you know what? It gave me the foundation to go out. And I think a lot of people, maybe even listening to this podcast, they start out, they don't have huge budgets. Maybe they have a full-time job. Maybe they have some in savings, but they don't want to risk throwing, $5,000 out in marketing and hoping that it works. Because what happens is it creates crippling anxiety. I better make a deal. I better make this happen. I hope I get calls, all these things.
Makes you sound desperate.
Of course, and you have that that assignment fee breath when you walk in the house. You know what I mean? You're just like looking to get that stuff, and it really affects your ability to make a connection with people and see what their problem is that you can solve. So just being from a proactive standpoint, one, the barrier to entry is very, very low, and two, it's just. This whole business boils down to really one thing, and that's having quality conversations with distressed property owners. That's it. So if you can control it, if you could do it today and talk to 15 to 20 today, you can't lose. You're going to build it up to the point where you find that right person that's going to trade their equity in the house for speed and convenience, and that's when we lock up the deals and sell them to our cash buyer database.
What I love about what you guys are doing with TTP and just Wholesaling Inc. in general is that the information you put out is so practical. Yeah. It's not just a bunch of fairy tale bullshit. It's very practical. I meet with people every week that are looking to get started, wholesaling, flipping, all this. And my conversation with them has completely changed since I saw you and David Lecco speak in Asheville, whenever that was in October. Now, what I tell everyone that's starting to get into is, here's what you do. Yep. First of all, I give them HOA neighborhoods that I buy in, say, knock on these doors. Also, drive around, get a list of houses that look vacant. Wait till you get 500 names or 500 addresses, put them in batch skip tracing, call those numbers. Yep. That's what I tell every single person. Would you have anything to add to that for someone that has no money in Jacksonville, no budget, looking to get started?
I love it. Well, it's a beautiful blueprint. And here's the thing. The quicksand of our business is people starting out get stuck in information, education, and entertainment, right? They love all those dudes driving the crazy cars and taking private jets and sipping on bubbly and doing all this stuff. And that's fine. It's entertaining, but it's not going to get you paid. Education, knowing the process, understanding the paperwork, knowing what title does, all these things, you're putting together a business card and a website and all this. It's a distraction. What you're talking about is you're giving people instruction. And that's the whole way that Wholesaling Inc.'s built. That's the whole way the TTP program's built. It's giving you instruction for you to do these things. It's not long. It's not crazy. It's just go do this and be successful. Not look at all the stuff that I know about this industry. Look at all this stuff that I've done that's so creative. I'm this genius, blah, blah, blah. It's all bullshit, like you said. What it really comes down to is quality conversations with distressed property owners. How do you want to do it? Do you want to buy those conversations? Do you want to earn those conversations? Or do you want to wait on those conversations with referrals? It's your choice. You got three roads to pick. What do you want to do? How do you want to build your business? And the people that want to build it proactively, they naturally find me, and we fire them up. Yeah, we give them the path.
So that's great information right there for anyone that's getting started. They can either just listen to what we just talked about, listen to what you just said, and literally go out there and start today talking to people. That's what I love about it. A little more kind of advanced question I had for you is, I heard you on a mock phone call with somebody, and then the price of the house, Zillow says it's worth $150. I want $120. Yeah. Recently, an issue we've been having is that call will come in. I need one. Zillow says $150. I'd take $120. No room in it whatsoever. I kind of put it to the wayside. I'll follow up with them in a couple months. Don't go on the appointment, even though they want me to. Right. Then I see it a couple months later from a wholesaler trying to sell it at $95. Yeah. What the hell? They must have got the contract at $70. Sure. Get face to face with someone and everything changes. So how do you how do you negate that? Are you going on every appointment now?
No.
Are there some are you just cutting your losses with stuff like that? Or how are you dealing with that?
A couple different things. So, first of all, in every conversation that we have, we confirm and approve what they're saying. We want 150. We know it's worth 150. Okay, great. 150. Yeah, that sounds great. But just to let you know, we're buying homes in the area for around 70,000. Is that something that you could work with? No, I could never do that. Blah, 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 blah. Okay, well, tell me, let's talk about the condition of the property. So the filter that we do for everything, and this is all over the phone for the most part. Sometimes they want us to come to the house because of whatever reason. They want a whole group of people to meet with us or have a conversation or whatever. But for the most part, we filter it through the 4 pillars of pre-qualifying, which is the condition of the house, their timeline to sell, their motivation, and their price, right? If we can get those 4 things, man, we are like head and shoulders above. We are going to go lock up that deal. So when it comes to some of those people that say, this is what I need, we'll peel back the layers a little bit, but asking them about the condition of the property. If all of a sudden they start telling us that it's run down, that it's beat up, that there's some issues there, we will go on any appointment if the house is destroyed, because they have 2 options: sink a bunch of money into it or sell it to a cash buyer. That's it. That's their only options. And most of the time they don't have enough to throw into it, right? Enough capital, enough money to be able to fix it up. So we'll go in those properties. But if it's a nice house and they want retail, we say, well, just list it with an agent. We get rid of that. You know what I mean? Very, very, very rarely do we buy a property that's move-in ready.
Right.
We don't. We go after, and that's for a reason. We have an average, we make 27,000 an assignment because we go after properties that need a lot of love, right? They need a lot of this. They need what we call a tasteful remodel, right? Yeah.
Let me ask you this. You're going to a house, you see, you think it's worth 150 once it's remodeled. It's in rough shape, so your number's somewhere between 60 and 55, 80, something like that.
Yep.
Your acquisition managers, is their offer going to change if they know the seller is calling every single person in the state of Arizona to get an offer on that house? And how do they handle the situation differently if they know that?
Yeah, we just don't compete, honestly. So what happens is that with people that reach out to a bunch of people, they say, well, email me your offer or leave your offer with me. We're not going to do that. Just let us know what the best offer is, and we'll see if we can beat it. And sometimes that works, sometimes it doesn't. But oftentimes what you find is you have somebody that's either inexperienced or somebody that's buying for a different reason. They're buying to live there or buy to hold it, and if they can pay more, they can pay more. We're not the exciting part is we talk to so many people that we get consistent lead flow because we go for the people that'll actually do business with us. I think a big mistake a lot of people make is they focus on every lead and they don't understand that most of those leads will never do business with you. And you're just running around, and they're getting you to jump through hoops and come to the house and talk to them. And then they kind of like stiff arm you a little bit on what they really want for price, or when they want to sell, or I don't really need to sell, but I want to sell. Like all these things, right? So we look for the people, like my acquisition managers know within 30 seconds of a conversation if that person's going to do business with us. Right. If they don't, in my market, they get 15 letters a day, right? They get 12 texts a day. They get 15 voicemail drops a day, right? So, I mean, they've got opportunities to bid out and see who's going to compete with each other. We just don't play that game because the margins get too thin and we get beat out every time. It's just don't compete that way. Yeah.
Got it. So stick to your numbers. Don't chase anything would be your advice on that.
100%. Yeah, people do business with us because my acquisition managers' emotional intelligence is off the charts. Most of these people, they have a price in mind. If we can get it, then they'll sign a contract, and we set up advanced agreements with them. Before we go to the house, we ask them, if what we say makes sense and you feel comfortable and confident moving forward with us, is there anything stopping you from signing the paperwork tomorrow? No. Yes, this is what will stop me. I need to run it by my attorney. I need my brother I need to talk to my priest about it, whatever it is, right? Like everybody has these kind of bubbles, but I'd rather know that going into the appointment and kind of set up those advanced agreements.
Got it.
Yep.
So another shifting gears a little bit, another real hot topic, especially here in Jacksonville right now, is Open Door because they just got to they just started in Jacksonville probably 6 months ago.
Sure.
I talk to a lot of sellers who are also, if I talk to a seller that is like, well, I'm also going to get an Open Door offer, that in my mind right now is a complete throwaway for
Right.
me anyway, because I've seen Open Door offers and I've compared them to mine, not even in the same ballpark.
Right.
25, 30 grand off every time. Have you guys, at the same time, Open Door is only buying newer kind of move-in ready stuff. So
Yep.
have you felt the hurt at all with that, with you guys? And have you been using them at all, maybe for your exit strategy or anything like that?
So Open Door, Phoenix was their pilot city, right? They've been here for they've been here for 3 years, right? So they've been doing this for a long time here. The other one, OfferPad, which will be coming your way soon, they are from Arizona. Like, they're all here, but they look for things that are cosmetic rehabs. Those don't have the spreads that we're looking for anyway. They don't go after properties that need a significant amount of rehab. They're looking to turn them fast, and they're looking to make 6% on it. So, from that perspective, we just don't play in the same arena. You know what I mean?
I couldn't agree more with that.
Yeah.
They are buying very thin though.
Yep.
And I tell people on the phone, if you are willing to take a little less than market, I think Open Door offers a great option for people. I really do. But they are buying thin. Do you see them lasting? 5 years from now is Open Doors.
If our economy is like an accordion, as soon as that accordion starts squeezing back in, they might have some problems, which they have enough capital to hold those properties like a hedge fund would, and then just rent them out, right? And do something there. So I don't think that that they go under, but with a good economy, the wind in their sails, then they'll do fine. I don't see it as competition. I don't see the other wholesalers as competition. They're either going to work with us or they're not. I look at everything, right? So I look at our market. We've got 1.5 million houses. Well, the statistics say 6 to 10% of those people are going to be in distress of some sort, whether it be personal, whether it be financial, whether it be the house is just beat up. We've got a conveyor belt of terrible properties that need love. You know what I mean? If I do 100 of them a year, business is bananas, right?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
yes.
If you look at the fractions of that, that's saying that literally 75,000 houses out there have the potential to sell at a discount. I mean, I need a drop in the bucket.
That's why you're so successful, though, is because you have that abundance mindset. All I see on Facebook now is Jacksonville real estate agents. Oh, my God, the end of the world is coming. They're screwing homeowners, blah, blah, blah. When you actually look at the numbers, that is not the case.
No.
That's not the case at all. And we've actually we don't solely wholesale. We close on a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
And Open Door has been a phenomenal exit strategy for us.
Oh, yeah.
On houses because these guys are paying close to retail. So, I mean, either ride the wave or because you're not going to fight it.
They're a great cash buyer. I don't see them as anything different. We've sold houses to them for sure.
Right.
I mean, some of the ones that are a little bit, they're not as trashed as most. I mean, we haven't sold a lot, maybe a handful, but that's when we stumble into something that doesn't need a tremendous amount of rehab. And they start loosening their guidelines as they need more properties, as they get more capital that they need to buy. So before, they weren't buying anything built before 1990. Now it's 1960 if they can fix it. You know what I mean? So, it's just not. Yeah, they're a great cash buyer. Sell your deals to them.
Yep, absolutely.
Yep.
Another part of your business, other than just you have Offer Arizona, but TTP and the coaching and all that and everything you're doing on Facebook with your podcast, your social media, that is a completely different side of things. We've recently started with our new rebrand, Yellow. It used to be just me and my partner with our heads down in an office, just buying. And we had no team, no anything. It was just us two. We decided to rebrand, do this Yellowbird thing, podcast, video, all that. You seem to be crushing all of it. But I know from experience now that podcasting, you taking time to talk to me right now, takes you away from buying houses, from profit exercises. So how have you been able to balance everything, and how are you working it now? What does your team look like? What are you doing there?
Yeah, the only thing that I do in my business is make sure that my people are getting good quality leads. And that's it. Really, it comes down to list selection and making sure that the machine's running and checking on the numbers as they come out. Maybe 10 hours a week in the wholesaling business. The rest of the time is for the coaching, the TP program, which is my passion, and working with the students that I have and putting out what I hope is quality content. So, you have to look at your schedule. We have 168 hours in a week, man. Like if you sleep 8 hours a day, you still have another 100 and what, 12 hours to be productive and do stuff and be around family and friends and business. We got plenty of time. This is a priority management thing. So what are you doing with your time? You look at your time and then you just you start segmenting when you want to do things. So like Alejandra's here in the office with me. We'll do our videos. We'll do the videos for the week on Tuesday. Boom. We have all the videos ready to go. She edits them. She gets it going. Boom. It's a 2-hour block in my day. And everybody's like, oh, you're putting out so many videos. How do you have the time to do it? You just do it. It's 2 hours a week, right? And then every student in the TTP program gets my cell phone. They can text me or call me anytime.
Wow, that's impressive.
And so but most of the time it's a text telling me that they're doing great things or that they've got this deal or they need to jump on the phone. And we jump on the phone. I mean, it really, I think the issue is people put on like a certain hat. And if they're in, I got to buy houses hat right now and I can't have everything else and everything else is a distraction, then they're going to have a problem. But if you can go, hey, I'm buying houses. Wait, let me put 15 minutes into doing this. Boom, done. Whatever. It doesn't take that much time. 15 minutes is a long time. Most conversations I have with students are like 5 minutes, 10 minutes, right? So, I mean, I think it's just, what are you passionate about? I feel like I'm the luckiest guy on the planet to be able to be in wholesaling and to be able to coach people on how to get deals by picking up the phone and having quality conversations with distressed property owners. So I think if you're passionate about it, if you've really got that burning desire, then it flows, man.
You guys are huge into the massive imperfect action. I know that's one of your main mantras. Is that the same route you take with your social media, with your videos? What do you go into every video knowing who you're talking to, knowing what the goal is with it? Or are you guys just dumping out content as much as possible to try to grow the program, grow the TTP, grow the Wholesaling Inc. program?
Well, the fortunate thing about talking to students around TTP family members around the country is they have different questions. So a question is, something that if it keeps coming up, and then that's something to address. So that's what I'll go with. I mean, we have a plan in mind, but most of the time it's just ripping and running, just getting on and doing the work and not even work, just making videos and having fun with it. I have Alejandra who does everything. So she does my social media. She does acquisition. She's an acquisition manager and she runs my Driving for Dollars team with the Deal Machine app. So among countless other things. So I think it's, I've got a disposition manager that builds my cash buyer database and sells all my deals. I've got 2 acquisition managers and I've got a lead manager. So my lead manager makes sure that all the leads are quality by the time they go to the acquisition managers. The acquisition manager's there to get the contract signed, give it to my disposition manager, sells it. I get a wire into the account. It's a beautiful day. What are we talking about? We're not building rockets here. I think people think that this is something that they want to build into franchises or they want to expand into, multiple different markets and make millions and millions and millions and millions. But I'll tell you what, the absolute dirty truth of this business is there's maybe a handful of people around the country that net personally $1 million in their bank account a year. And I'm telling you, they keep their business lean in quality, and they look for the biggest deals that they can. These people that are doing it in multiple markets and they're doing multi-million dollars, the average net is like 10% of the business, 20% on the business. I mean, come on. And it's a headache. So, I think that this business, the wholesaling business, is simple. I think if you want to get into and progress into lending money as a private lender, or you want to do more flips, or you want to do these apartment syndicates, that's a whole different thing. But wholesaling is so easy. Have quality conversations with distressed property owners and match these distressed property owner with a great cash buyer. That's it. Don't overcomplicate it.
Are you a big goal guy, Brent?
I used
Or
to
are you more
yeah.
massive action type?
That's it. Just so I did this challenge last year, 52 books in 52 weeks, right? Read a book a week
Right.
about business, about a business person, about mindset, about all these things. And I came away with a few things. The biggest thing was your income is determined by the value you provide to the marketplace, right? So if you want to make $1 million, you got to find a way to make $1 million worth of value, right? So if you focus on that, that's the goal. The goal isn't the $1 million. The goal is, how do I provide $1 million worth of value, right? How do I build that up? That is huge for me. So I think, from a goal standpoint, do we write down and do we have specific goals? Absolutely. Do we break them down quarterly? Absolutely. Do we talk about them all the time? Absolutely. But from a financial perspective, it's just, how do we make sure that we're providing the value, and if we're not providing value, how can we change courses quickly and make sure that we can get to the homeowners the way that we need? Because everything changes in this business.
Right.
6 years ago, if you sent out 1,000 postcards, all of a sudden you have 20,000 in your bank account, right? Now you send out 100,000 postcards, you might get a few deals. I mean, it's bananas.
It is. Full disclosure on us, postcards is our main driver right now, just because we haven't got off our ass and really got a call center going. We just haven't done it yet. And we're at probably about $7,500 per contract.
Yep.
From 2 years ago, it was 3,000.
Yep.
So it's just skyrocketing.
And homeowners. I mean, we've had such an unbelievable strong economy for the past. I mean, even since the downturn, we started kind of coming up, but since 2013 has been kind of ticking up, right? And people know that the economy is good. People know that they sell their houses for more. People know, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And when they have multiple people coming at them and saying, "Hey, I want to buy your house," the most common thing is, "What's going on out there?
Yeah.
Why does everybody want to buy my house?" Right?
Right.
So it's interesting. But the more people you talk to, the more you run across people that don't care about the money, which is really, really interesting. You run across these massive deals where all of a sudden they say, "Hey, just give me this amount and it's yours." Are you sure? Really? Yeah, I don't care. I want you to make a bunch of money. I just don't want to deal with it anymore.
Right.
Is it few and far between? Sure, but it happens to us every quarter. Every quarter we do a deal that's over 50,000. Every quarter.
Right.
Yep.
They're out there.
Yep.
You mentioned also a year ago that you kind of big on mentorships. You got a mentor to help you with your rental portfolio.
Mm-hmm.
Has that been a big focus of yours? Is the ultimate plan to kind of take the money from wholesaling and build this portfolio? Has that been a project for you lately?
So number one was, I wanted to pay off everything, right? Mortgage, student loan, my wife's student loans, the cars, everything. And we had a significant mortgage on our house, so gone. Feels great, right? So just everything, I learned from a book, The Financial Matrix, which is a fantastic book. I suggest everybody read it. But having personal debt is essentially financial slavery, right? You work and you work and you work and you work and you're just paying off interest, right? Yeah, you have these things and you have freedom and you have all those things, but you're still, from a financial standpoint, you're no better off at the end of the year paying off all this interest all the time and working all this and having to make more because you buy more and all this other stuff. So I decided to wipe the slate clean. And after taxes, you have a certain amount of money left, a certain amount of cash that you can pay off debts with. So I made sure to do all that, and now I'm on a buying spree, just buying up. I've been buying a lot of land, actually, which is interesting.
Awesome.
And just building up building up the rental portfolio and paying all those off. I would rather buy, and I'm weird, like I am, and it's something that Tom Kroll and I, the owner of Wholesaling
Yeah.
Inc. in Florida, there, something that we talk about a lot is we could take the cash that we make and buy dozens of houses. But the only time you see people that have a good amount of wealth lose it is debt. So we would prefer to buy properties free and
Makes
clear,
sense.
free and clear, free and clear, not have to worry about it, not have to worry, is the renter going to cover this mortgage? If not, what happens? There's turnover. Oh my gosh, what's happening? So it's a slow build, but I had a fantastic, probably the world's greatest mentor in Michael Jake, who's out of Colorado Springs, that is just a genius when it comes to making sure that you don't buy stupid properties. And he basically said you got to buy properties in good school districts. You want to be around 75% of what the median market price is and keep people in there as long as you can. And I think it's a smart play. I think if you own a ton of houses or even a nice stable of houses in good neighborhoods with good school districts and you pay them off, I mean, come on.
Can't go
What
wrong
are
with
you
that.
doing? Yeah.
Mhm.
So phenomenal.
I really like, just kind of wrapping this up, I really like all your thoughts about mindset. I think I'm a big believer that mindset and what you think you can do, that's everything. That's why you're where you're at, because in your mind, you knew you could do it. You didn't see it as a massive challenge. You just went out and did it. You read 52 books last year. Can you just share, that's a lot of information. Can you just
Yeah.
share a couple key points that shifted your mindset for the better? I'll tell you mine, that I read a lot, also big into reading mindset books.
Yeah.
And mine, I was working on drilling rigs before I came off and did this. My girlfriend got pregnant. I had a daughter, and they were like, okay, well, come right back to work. I was gone 8 months a year. And the big shift for me was that this life is so short, and in the grand scheme of the universe and everything, we're all going to be dust one day. It's
Yep.
very, very insignificant. So why not do the best you can and be happy while you're here? That was my main shift. It's like, I'm going to spend half of my life on this rig being a miserable piece of shit. Why not just give this a shot? Whether I
Yep.
make $2 million next year, whether I make $5,000, no one cares at all. Why
Sure.
not just go for it? That keeps me humble
Yep.
every day, knowing how insignificant it all is. And that was my biggest mind shift. And it really helps me every day drive to what I want.
I love it. Yeah. I couldn't agree with you more. I loved it. It's really interesting because, when I really started making significant income, I thought that like everybody would just be like, oh, Brent, you're so awesome. Like everybody in my family and my friends, nobody gives a shit.
No one gives a shit.
Nobody
It's
cares.
crazy.
Like really, like nobody's like, Brent, give us advice, or Brent, well, how can I do that business? Like nobody cares. They're just like, hey, bro, what's up? Here you're doing well. Like, okay. Yeah, you know what I mean? Nobody really cares. So I think you got to really do it for yourself. I think that a few things, a couple books that I'll point out, I think that are really important. The Go-Giver, #1. I read that book. I've read it over 60 times. It's phenomenal. It'll cement your mindset into providing value and knowing how this whole thing works. I think that little book like really lays it all out. There's a book called Versatile Selling. Now, I'm not big on selling books or sales books or whatever, but this one's really good at understanding different personality types and how to communicate effectively with them. It's a super dry book. It's super dry, but it's not big. It's this little book here, but I highlight the whole damn thing because it's phenomenal, and it'll help you understand different personality types. And then I love Gary Vaynerchuk's books. He's got one, Crush It, which was really good, which is kind of his original, which I think teaches 3 core principles, which is gratitude, which is kind of what you were talking about. I think that if you can start your day grateful, that you're here, grateful that you have this opportunity, grateful that you live in America, you know what I mean? Grateful that you have opportunities, grateful that, whatever, your family's healthy or you have a roof over your head or whatever it is, just grateful. And then have self-awareness is a second key to that. Understanding who you are. If you're not somebody that can manage and lead people, but you crush it with sales, you crush it with doing deals, just do deals.
Right.
Not everybody has to be the Robert Kiyosaki box of self-employed investor, business owner, the whole thing. Just understand who you are and be happy that way. Because I see a ton of people that are so talented and they're crushing it and they get big checks. And then all of a sudden they start hiring people, and all of a sudden they start just, the lights in their eyes go out, and they're just kind of wandering around just like, oh, what did I do, right? They're so stressed out. They're worried about what other people are doing. They're almost like, just looking around, looking over their shoulder, making sure, whatever. So just self-awareness, right? And then the last one is really just the patience in this business, having patience and just getting the work done. It's a law of cause and effect, right? If you keep putting these if you keep taking action, there's going to be things that happen, and celebrate those small little wins. If you're just starting out, going and getting the Driving for Dollars app is a win.
Absolutely.
Going out and getting in your car and turning it on is a win. Driving down a neighborhood, seeing a rough property, putting a pin in it is a win. Getting the phone number is a win. Calling them is a win. It's not just a win is just a big check at the end of the day. That's built from all these small wins. So as you're starting up, have the patience enough to know that you need all these small little wins before you can get to the payoff, which is phenomenal in our business.
It keeps you from getting overwhelmed too,
Sure.
right? Because someone from the outside looks at you, you got your acquisitions people, you got your lead manager, everything's just fired up, working great. Keeping you from getting overwhelmed at that and just focusing on the little wins. I mean, that's huge because it's easy to get overwhelmed by this. There's a lot of gray area in it. So,
oh, for sure. And there's a lot of times when it's really tough, and there's a lot of obstacles and hurdles. And you talked about mentorship. Mentorship to me is, it's without a doubt a fact that you are pulled up. You're repotted like this plant into a bigger pot when you're around people that do more than you.
Agree more.
So you can instantly have that by getting a mentor. You can instantly get that from joining like a community of people that are all killing it in a certain program. You can instantly have that. You don't have to people are like, I don't know any millionaires. I don't know anybody that knows anything about real estate investing or wholesaling or anything. Yeah, you do. Just go online. Just go online, find one that fits with your personality and that you think that'll really work for you, and invest in yourself. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. There's more out there than you know. I mean, you see you guys because you're in the spotlight everywhere, but there's millionaire investors in every single market in the entire country that'd be more than happy. Some young, hungry son of a bitch. Mm-hmm. They will tell them everything, and they just go out and work for them for free. And that's how you do it. I mean, that's the key.
That's it. So, it's, I think the right people, having self-awareness, patience, and gratitude, understanding the 5 stratospheric laws of success that are in the Go-Giver, and understanding people's personality types. And boom. I mean, we're not building rockets here.
Nope.
We're not building rockets.
Hey, Brent, I really, really want to thank you. I know you're busy as hell for taking the time out of your day to come on here. That was a great conversation. I got everything I wanted with the mindset and everything to do with your wholesaling business. And most importantly, step by step for how someone can literally start today if they wanted to.
Yeah.
Thanks for providing so much value.
You got it.
Really appreciate it.
Yeah. Thanks for having me on.
Yes, sir.
Yep.
Hey, man. Thank you. That was awesome. Really appreciate it. When is the Wholesaling Inc. event? Is it again this year, fall? Not doing it?
Not doing it.
Oh, okay.
Events are a funny thing, right? So really the event was, I think maybe break even from a financial standpoint. But it was more just a community thing. You know what I mean? But there's a lot of moving parts to it. There's a lot of distraction from it. So, I think collectively we all looked at it and said, are we focusing on providing value throughout the year? Are we distracted by putting on events and what people are kind of wanting, right, but not needing type of thing? So maybe next year, I don't know. The event, I love it. I love getting up. I love talking. I love being around people.
I'll tell
But
you what, I told
yeah,
Tom at the end, I've never been to an event that was such a great balance of actual substance,
yeah,
value add, and so little salesy bullshit. I
yeah,
really, really enjoyed it.
yeah.
I thought it was phenomenal, but I can see how it would be break even on the profit side because you guys did the right thing and focused more on adding value for the people that were there. It's probably
Well,
part of it.
and there's a couple different models when it comes to coaching. Some people want to do big events where they charge big tickets to do like certain breakouts where you get to see the Wizard of Oz behind the curtain and you get to sit with them and have a ham sandwich or something, some bullshit like that. You know what I mean? Like, and then you can ask them questions and be around their aura, and it costs you 10 grand for an event to like do that. And I get it. I mean, if you can have a couple days, I don't think it's in the best interest of the student, but maybe that's what they need. Maybe they just want to be in that space, So I don't know. It's just not the way that we run things, and that's probably why we have, I think 200 video testimonials on people winning, and like our stuff's just off the charts when it comes to people actually doing things. So we just let that stand for what it is. Yeah.
Cool, man. Thanks
Awesome.
again so much for your time.
You got it. Sorry for the mix-up. I was in the
No problem.
freaking parking garage, and I'm like, oh shit, I don't know what's going on here. So, that was good, but
Hey,
really appreciate it.
one more quick question for you. We run a local meetup here. We get about 150 or so people a month to go at it. Yeah, it's pretty good. And the whole goal of that is to kind of have all the wholesales come through us as the buyer for all the young people that are coming up.
Sure.
Would you or Cody or anyone, I don't know, once again, how busy y'all are, if we were to pay and put you guys up out here, would you have any interest in coming to be a keynote at it? We do it the first Thursday of every month, and we got it booked out for the foreseeable future. I don't know how that works or if you guys even do that.
Yeah, we do. I just did one in Alabama and
Alaria?
the REI Live deal.
Yeah.
I know Tom does a lot. Tom's in your market. Tom will definitely do it, I think. I mean, just reach out to. Yeah, we'd love to. We don't give a shit. Yeah.
Hey, man.
Just let me know, as long as it's enough room to figure it all out, for sure. I mean,
plenty of room, plenty of time and room. Cool, man. Thanks again, Brent.
Love to.
I really appreciate it.
Yeah, let us know.
Have a good one.
All right, brother.